At the sound of the opening bell, it seemed like things could slip out of his hands. But just as quickly as the threat emerged, Murojon Akhmadaliev reminded everyone why he's become one of the most feared men in boxing. With one thunderous uppercut, the dynamic changed. That moment wasn't just about survival, it was a metaphor for his entire career. This was no ordinary prospect. This was Uzbekistan's finest, a walking war machine whose name now echoes through the halls of the super bantamweight division with respect and caution. Murojon M.J. Akhmadaliev, a southpaw technician with hands like pistons and a knockout percentage most heavyweights would envy, is no longer chasing respect, he's demanding it. And in doing so, he's barreling toward a monumental showdown with Japan's mythic monster Naoya Inoue, in a bout already being called the most dangerous collision in the division's history. Born and raised in Uzbekistan, Akhmadaliev wasn't crafted in the soft lighting of boxing privilege or sheltered gyms. He came up through hard roads, trained by warriors, forged in grit. From a young age, he was treated not just as a talent but as a legacy in the making. Uzbekistan, a country known for its rugged amateur system and military-style boxing education, saw in Akhmadaliev a potential global ambassador of violence done with style. He repaid that faith early. In 2015, he claimed a silver medal at the IBO World Championships. A year later, he earned Olympic bronze at Rio 2016. The world noticed. He had speed, power, and that priceless predator's mindset. He wasn't just a clean puncher, he was a calculating executioner. With every fight, it became increasingly clear, Akhmadaliev wasn't just trying to win. He was trying to leave a mark on the soul of every man who dared to share the ring with him. When he turned pro in March 2018, there was no slow build-up, no baby steps. He entered with the kind of poise and composure reserved for seasoned fighters. His debut was an annihilation. From the first round, he stalked, pressured, and landed punches that sounded like someone swinging a hammer into drywall. His opponent, overmatched and overwhelmed, folded quickly. But beyond the destruction, what stood out was MJ's calm. His demeanor. His ability to operate with surgical patience. His hooks weren't wild, they were precise. He never overreached. Every movement was calculated, refined, and devastating. And perhaps most impressively, Akhmadaliev didn't take a single clean shot in the bout. It was as if he had installed a firewall around his chin. Trained by the legendary Joel Diaz, MJ quickly became a technician of violence. Diaz, known for crafting fighters with both grit and polish, saw in Murojon an elite-level thinker and an instinctive killer. In his second pro outing, Akhmadaliev took on Carlos Suarez. It wasn't just a fight, it was a showcase. Suarez was brave, but bravery doesn't stop body shots that feel like axe swings. MJ targeted the torso like a seasoned assassin, with uppercuts and hooks landing with frightening regularity. He stalked, cornered, and battered Suarez, each punch drawing groans from the crowd. Suarez, who had come in full of energy, was reduced to a man looking for air, hunched over and staring at the mat like it had the answers to his suffering. And MJ wasn't done. Round after round, he beat the resistance out of his opponent until Suarez looked more like a training dummy than a challenger. The final sequence was clinical. MJ cut off the ring, unloaded a vicious left hook, and dropped Suarez like a rag doll. The referee had no choice but to step in. Fight after fight, the opposition grew tougher, but the results stayed the same. Akhmadaliev's blend of patience and punishment became his trademark. In only his third fight, he took on Ramon Contreras. Again, the left hook was the star of the show. This time, it landed so clean to the liver that Contreras folded in half, his body betraying him as he gasped for breath. It was as if Akhmadaliev had downloaded the coordinates to the liver shot and activated a guided missile. Contreras collapsed. The ref waved it off. MJ hadn't just won, he had eliminated the concept of resistance. Then came the American debut at Madison Square Garden. September 13, 2019. Akhmadaliev stepped onto the biggest stage of his career and made it look like a homecoming. His opponent, Wilner Soto, was known for being durable. But MJ made him look fragile. From the first bell, Akhmadaliev danced around Soto, then darted in with shots that sliced the air. His counters were ghost-like. Slip, step, bang. Soto barely landed anything meaningful. But when he did throw, MJ had already exited the pocket. In round 2, after feinting a jab, Akhmadaliev came over the top with a right hook that buckled Soto's knees. A left followed to the body, and the sequence was complete. Soto fell. Though he rose, it only delayed the inevitable. Another round, another left hook, and Soto went down again. The fight was mercifully stopped. MJ had painted a masterpiece, but MJ wasn't satisfied with being labeled a rising star. He wanted to be known as the best. And to do that, he had to take the crown. Enter Daniel Roman, unified WBA and IBF champion, respected, experienced, and durable. On paper, this was supposed to be a step too far, too soon. But Akhmadaliev didn't care for narratives. From the first round, he matched Roman blow for blow. He moved with venom, timing his punches to perfection, using angles to escape pressure and counters to punish overreach. It was a chess match, but one fought with sledgehammers. Roman fired back, but MJ responded every time with sharper, cleaner, and harder shots. After 12 hellish rounds, MJ stood victorious via split decision, becoming the fastest unified world champion in boxing history. Just 8 fights into his career, he'd reached the mountaintop. Yet, even mountaintops have avalanches. In April 2021, MJ fought in front of his home crowd in Uzbekistan against Japanese veteran Ryosuke Iwasa. The atmosphere was electric. Akhmadaliev fed off the energy, launching into the fight with his usual mix of control and aggression. Iwasa, to his credit, fought back hard, landing some stiff counters and refusing to back down. But MJ kept coming. His pressure was suffocating. Every exchange ended with MJ landing the final word. In round 5, a right uppercut began the end. Iwasa was stunned. MJ capitalized, launching a barrage of 1-2s and hooks that drained the Japanese veteran's soul. The referees saw enough. Another win. Another stoppage. The Uzbek faithful roared in ecstasy. But boxing is cruel. Glory is fleeting. On April 8, 2023, MJ faced Marlon Tapales in what many assumed would be another successful defense. Instead, MJ tasted defeat. It was a gritty, back-and-forth affair, with Tapales landing just enough and MJ appearing just vulnerable enough. The judges rendered a split decision. MJ had lost. His belts were gone. For the first time, his cloak of invincibility had been pierced. The loss was devastating, but it also lit a fire in him. He didn't make excuses. He went back to work, and in June 2022, he faced Ronnie Rios, a tough contender with no quit. What followed was a dissection. Akhmadaliev moved like water, striking like fire. He danced, jabbed, and hooked with precision. Rios had moments, he always does, but he was clearly outgunned. Round after round, MJ chipped away at Rios's body and spirit. In round 11, he delivered a shot that would have made legends wince, a left to the ribs that buckled Rios instantly. The referee jumped in. Another exclamation point. Then came Kevin Gonzalez. A title eliminator. A make-or-break bout. And in the early rounds, it looked like things could break. Gonzalez started strong, landing rights upstairs, pushing MJ back, and testing his patience. But Akhmadaliev adjusted. Slowly, the rhythm shifted. He began cutting angles, landing brutal uppercuts, and backing Gonzalez up. By round 8, it was a massacre. Akhmadaliev unleashed a flurry that had the crowd gasping. Gonzalez dropped. Got up. Got dropped again. The referee saved him from further trauma. MJ was back. December 2024 became his true return party. Ricardo Espinosa stood across the ring, confident and capable. But Akhmadaliev was on a mission. From round 1, he controlled the distance, popping his jab and slipping shots with ease. Espinosa tried to bully, but found himself swinging at ghosts. Round 3 changed everything. A left hook landed flush, sending Espinosa down. He beat the count. Moments later, another barrage dropped him again. Still, Espinosa rose, bloodied but defiant. But MJ was relentless. A final left landed in round 4, and the lights went out. Espinosa crumpled. The message had been sent. Meanwhile, halfway across the world, the monster roared. Naoya Inoue, boxing's most feared technician, returned to Tokyo for his war with Luis Nery. It wasn't supposed to be close. But Nery had other plans. In round 1, he landed a cannon of a left hand that dropped Inoue cold. The Tokyo Dome went silent. For the first time ever, Inoue looked human. But that moment of vulnerability gave birth to fury. In round 2, Inoue returned fire with sniper-like precision. A jab, a hook, and suddenly Nery was down. Round after round, Inoue took control. He moved like a ghost and hit like a hammer. In round 5, he scored another knockdown. And in round 6, he ended it. An uppercut from hell followed by a straight right. Lights out. Nery's soul left the building. Now, the table is set. On September 14, 2025, Tokyo, Japan, will host a fight that may redefine the super bantamweight division forever. Murojon Akhmadaliev, the hardest puncher and most dangerous body attacker in the division, will face Naoya Inoue, the man they call the Monster. It's more than champion versus challenger. It's artist versus assassin. Fire versus fury. A showdown between two nations, two legacies, and two fighters who have sacrificed everything to reach the pinnacle. For Akhmadaliev, it's a chance at redemption. A chance to reclaim the throne and silence the doubters. For Inoue, it's about legacy. Beating MJ means defeating the last man in his division who can match him in speed, power, and tenacity. This isn't just another title fight. It's the kind of battle that echoes through generations. The kind that fans will replay for years, debating every round, every exchange. Akhmadaliev has rebuilt himself through fire. Inoue has risen from near disaster to deliver destruction. Now they meet. And when that bell rings in Tokyo, the world will hold its breath. Because when monsters collide, someone always gets hurt. Who will it be?